Hey, welcome to the Tuesday coaching call, 12:30 p.m. Pacific time every single week at randybyrd.live. That's RANDYBYRD.live. And thank you for being here. I've got a treat for you today. We're going to go over the five pillars and we're going to talk about what that looks like when we are looking at our real estate business. So the five pillars from coaching for almost 10 full years now. I can't believe it, but I've been coaching for 10 years. And whether you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening to it on the podcast, get ready to take some notes because I'm going to go over the five pillars that I think you could use to just either relaunch your business starting from fresh, or if you move to new area and you want to geographically launch, this is going to be what I would do. This is the thing that I would do if I fell out of an airplane and I was going to rebuild a business or I want to reinvigorate my business. Okay. So again, it's Coach Randy Byrd. I do this every single Tuesday live coaching. We usually do about 15 or 20 minutes of a demo, coaching opportunity, training. We do everything from AI to CRMs and all the things. And then usually we'll answer any Q&A that comes up in the chat and so on. But before we get started, I just want to say thank you for being here. A lot of you are here every week with us, and I've been doing this call now for probably about 4 years running, and it's pretty good. We've got a great database. You can always hit my YouTube and Instagram and all those channels at Coach Randy Byrd. So YouTube, Coach Randy Byrd, Instagram at Coach Randy Byrd, so on. All right. Anyway, let's get started with the show today. So number one, if we're talking about the five pillars, what are the five pillars that hold up this massive foundation of a business that we can provide, right? So I broke them down like this. Number one, get your database together, right? A lot of people know they have a database, think they have a database, don't know what a database is, can't spell database. But the bottom line is your database typically starts with your cell phone. Most people have about 500 to 1,000 names in their cell phone. They might not remember who they were. It might be the dry cleaner, but the bottom line is the average person knows about 200 people. And that's through their extended immediate family, friends, associations, Rotary Club, baseball leagues, kids swimming things, whatever it may be. The average person knows 200 people. So, number one, we want to identify those 200 people and put them into our database as an SOI, sphere of influence. That's somebody that knows us if we called. We might have to remind them, hey, this is Randy Byrd, not ringing a bell. We did some things together, still not ringing a bell. Little Jimmy was on Little Billy's softball team. Oh, yeah, okay, I remember you, right? The guy with the flat bill hat. That's me. So, whatever it takes to get that database into, or get that sphere of influence, get that list of your names out of your cell phone into a database. There's a lot of real estate databases available. My company provides Bold Trails, which used to be KV Core, which bought Boomtown. It's a very robust CRM program called Bold Trails. It's a great CRM. One of the other popular ones are Lofty. That's the one I use. Either one's great. Both of them have AI, which we're going to talk about in a minute, that really changes the game on this. It will actually communicate for you, with you, and your people sometimes won't even know the difference. But so number one in that pillar is getting your database together. That may take you a couple days to a week or more. Nowadays with AI, I challenge you that I could literally take your whole cell phone, export it to a CSV, import it into Claude or ChatGPT, tell it to categorize it alphabetically any way you want to, by area codes, by zip code, by geographic area, and it will do it all before you can go fill up your water bottle and get back to your office. So don't use that as an excuse. Okay. Number two, a drip or auto follow-up system, right? This is commonly known as an automation. You want to put automations into your business so these 200 people now are getting some form of value from you. Number one is getting them in there correctly and likely setting them up on a property search if they're a buyer, or a property ID if they're a seller, meaning that they're getting market reports and updates of what's going on in the market, right? So what this may look like is you get Billy Bob that you put into your database, and you know Billy Bob lives at 123 Banana Street. And so you put a market report on that. So it shows his particular zip code, what's going on in that market every month. And so every month he's going to get an update that 37 homes sold, 22 homes closed, his approximate value. All that's done with automation now. All these CRMs will do it automatically. And then in a minute, the next item, I'm going to talk about some other features that you can buy, get, find for free that are going to enhance that even more and more. So number two of this, the pillars, the second pillar, number two, is some kind of drip or automation follow-up system on everybody. If Billy is in your CRM as a buyer and he lives in a certain part of town or wants to buy in a certain part of town, you want to have a property search developed for him that delivers every week, 2 weeks, every 4 weeks, whatever it is. You could address that cadence and slow it down, speed it up. You could watch how many emails they're opening and know if you're going too much or too fast or too slow or whatever, right? If they're on every month and they open every single email and they consume that email, then I'd speed that up a little bit. All right. So that's the second pillar. Number one, database. Number two, auto follow up with property alerts. Number three, an item of value. This item of value could be a couple things. Commonly, it's a newsletter. It's something like if you have a real estate team or a business or there's information going on in the real estate world, you're putting it in this newsletter. You want to make this newsletter valuable to them. It's so many newsletters I see are bragging about the agent and talking about the agent's family and how they just went to the Bahamas for 2 weeks and all the things. That is not what the seller, buyer, or the client is looking for. They're looking for what's going on in the real estate world. How's it affecting their money? How's it affecting their livelihood? What's going on in the real estate space, in my opinion. So you could say a market report in the newsletter, for instance, where you're talking about the broader economy of real estate, what the interest rates are globally, what's going on in the real estate space globally. You could do those kind of things. Keep this neutral though. Don't lean one direction or the other, meaning don't lean red or blue. Don't lean Democrat or Republican. This is a middle of the ground. You want to be an independent when it comes to this stuff. You don't want to say these liberal tactics in this town is causing this, or these Republican decisions are causing this. That's just bad business, in my opinion. A lot of agents tend to be proud about that. I think you're just disrupting potentially half of your audience. Not a good idea from a neutral perspective. Okay. One little add-on to this is HomeBot. HomeBot is an amazing app. You could download it. There may be a cost depending on which brokerage you're with. Some of them provide it, some of them don't. Some title companies can give you access to it for free. But the bottom line is HomeBot is going to continue to give them valuations on their properties for sellers. And it's very intuitive, very interactive. And it's showing if the equity is going up or down or what's going on. And it's really a sticky tool, especially for sellers, right? You want to get them off Zillow is the bottom line. Because if they're on Zillow, they're looking at 955,000 other agents. And you want to be the resource for them for real estate, right? That's the bottom line. So number three is some item of value. There's a lot of other ways to go about this. It could not just be a newsletter. It could be client parties. It could be a show that you do. It could be a podcast. It could be anything and a lot of different things. So look at it from that perspective and just say, this is your item of value you're delivering to your database on at least a monthly basis. Okay. So number four, let's move on. Number four, now you've got your database kind of taken care of in number one. You've got your automatic follow-ups that you're doing with them through your CRM. You've got your newsletter or HomeBot or something that you're doing that's creating value to them purposefully in your database. Now what we want to do is, now we've got those 200, we want to develop a geo farm or a farm around your particular area. You could do a whole city as a farm, but the more value of a farm, when I speak of farm, I'm not talking cows and chickens and pigs. I'm talking geographic farm. You taking a pencil and drawing a line around a subdivision, for instance, like you would putting an area of Zillow around a specific area where you're watching that area, right? I have all kinds of these triggers turned on, so I could look for foreclosures in certain areas or flips in areas that I want to do flips. Or if I live in a specific area, I could draw a line around that and be an expert in that area. This is what I want you to think about, is I want you to think about you being the expert in an area And I'm going to say between 500 as a minimum and about 1,000 homes. Once you master that, this is very duplicatable and it's very scalable, meaning that I have coaching clients that have 30,000 in their farm. Well, they didn't start with 30,000, they started with 500. It became, you know, they got to be proficient in that area. They got an ROI. They sold a house or two out of that area and they doubled down and went to the next area. And I've taught this for years, and it's very, very powerful if you think about it this way. Let's say we start with 500 homes to be modest. You take where you live, for instance, or if you sold three or four houses in this one subdivision, let's call it Edgewood, then you go into Edgewood and you say, I'm going to own Edgewood. You draw a line, an imaginary line around Edgewood that's approximately 500 homes. All the title companies will help you do this and do it for you. For instance, Active Farm is another geographic farm that works very well. I think that happens to be with Chicago, but I could be wrong on that. But there's a lot of title companies, First American, Fatco, they all have some version of their own geographic farm. It's data. What homes are selling, how many are selling, all the things, right? So really, you want to start with a principle on the farms of one thing, 500 homes. Actually, I'm going to say four things. Minimum of 500 homes, a minimum turnover of 6%. Because if you pick a farm that nothing ever sells in, and you picked it because it's the most awesome neighborhood in the whole area and it's up on the bluffs and overlooks the whole city and nobody ever sells in there, you're going to spend more money than you can make in that farm. So you want a farm that's got turnover. You want a farm that's in a subdivision that's turning over, not a brand new subdivision. Those typically don't turn over for 5 years, right? So you want to pick an area that's got some turnover. 6% is a good number. If you love it and it's five and a quarter, five and a half, I'd go with it, but use six as a baseline. Now, in that farm, you want to make sure that you're communicating with them at least once a month. Twice a month is much better, right? So you want to communicate with them, and that could be free, meaning door knocking. You could say, I'm going to pick 500 homes, and every month I'm going to go through and knock on every one of those homes. That's literally only 15 homes a day if you think of it that way, 7 days a week. But if you don't like door knocking, you could drop flyers. That's another way of a touch. Or you can have an email campaign where you get the email addresses and names of all the people from title, and you're sending them an email every month, and you're putting them in that sequence we talked about above, right? You're putting them in your database now. So you've gone from 200 to 201 or 200 to 700, adding 500. You're communicating with them every month. You're dripping on them with auto follow-ups. If it's a farm, you know they're all sellers, right? Because you put a farm around people that live there or own the home, and now you're marketing them. You could do it with sweat equity or check equity. Check equity is when you pay somebody to send them a postcard and mark it for you. Sweat equity is dragging little Jimmy around in a radio flyer and putting door knockers on and door knocking on the houses and putting flyers in the house, right? Those are all kind of the running for mayor campaign. That's grassroots. It's free. If you are going to build up and do check equity, like some of my clients have now, I've got one client that has absolutely just dominated a farm. And that's why I'm so passionate about these. I've done it firsthand. I've seen it work. I know it works. It's infallible if you follow the process. He had 1,000 homes that he was marketing and door knocking and doing all that when I started coaching him. He'd only sold a couple of homes in that area, and his complaint was, I'm going to make up the name, but Elena is dominant in that area. Real estate agent Elena is selling 20, 30 homes a year in that 1,000 homes. So even though it had a 6% turnover, that means 1,000 homes, 60 homes a year turning over and selling in that, buying and selling in that farm. Elena had half of those. She was dominant agent in that area. And I said, game on. Let's go get Elena. Let's just outmarket and outwork Elena. And he goes, okay, coach, I'm going to do it. So what he started doing is he started doing a better job than Elena. He started marketing to them a little better. He was door knocking and walking those neighborhoods more often. He got to be top of name. He started selling 5 homes in there, 10 homes in there, 20 homes in there, 30 homes in there. Pretty soon he had an 80% market share of that 1,000 home neighborhood. And guess what? Little Elena started referring her listings to him instead of losing them to him. This is a true story. This is in Temecula, California. And then all of a sudden, then he expanded to the next farm. He expanded to another 1,000 homes and then another 1,000 homes. Well, pretty soon he's now selling 70, 80, 90, 100 homes a year in just these 3,000 home database because he's just the dominant agent in those areas. And now every agent that comes into that area that wants to try and break into it, they're afraid of him like he was of her back in the day, and they're referring him business. So now he's got, I think he said he was doing 15 or 20 referrals from agents that are getting referrals in that farm to him because they don't want to lose out to him on the listing presentation. That's domination, right? It's very possible you could start for free. That's one of my greatest pillars when you're new in the business is getting out there and running for basically grassroots mayor of your area. Okay. To expand on that, you could also join Seroptimus and Exchange Club and all that in those particular areas and really enhance your awareness and recognition. And I've even had people move up and run for mayor and become the mayor of that little area that they were farming as a real estate agent. That's when it's a next level. All right. And then the fifth pillar, and I think this is the part where you really come into your own and you start crushing it and dominating your farm and really your city, is then you go into YouTube and become the expert of that area. You become the expert advisor for that farm first. So you've got all their information, you got their addresses. Now you start searching for their social media profiles on purpose. Most of these CRMs nowadays, like Boom or Lofty, Bold Trails, they will search for you with a click of a button. You put the contact in there with their name and email, and then you go search social profiles. It will pull up every single social profile they can find. You friend request them there. You start having advanced conversations with them through that direct message. Hey, I'm the guy that's the crazy guy that's sending you flyers and door knocking. And by the way, we just sold 127 Banana Street last week for 450. I just wanted to let you know about that. Right? So now every time you get a listing, you're sending everybody in your farm that information. Every time you sell a house, you're sending everybody in that farm. Every time you do an open house, you're inviting everybody in that farm. You see how you become the local celebrity of that area. And now with YouTube, you could just drive that home with video and start putting out YouTube content. And this is where some of the greatest minds in real estate video land is in YouTube. They're dominating YouTube because of the amount of watch hours and amount of time that's happening. Most consumers, folks, are starting to go to YouTube looking for channels to learn about the areas rather than going to Zillow. Zillow is still the number one search site. They're still the undisputed champion. But Zillow, owned by Google, did you hear what I just said? YouTube, owned by Google, is coming on the scene big and hard and fast. And what's happening is they started a new search program to combat Zillow. And that is Google's new home, basically, right? So you're going to be able to have that superpowering and supercharging your YouTube channel and all that stuff. This is when business gets fun. This is when you start getting referral business and you're just answering the phone, taking listings and helping service buyers and sellers. All right. So these are my 5 pillars. This is what I would do. And this is where I start my new coaching clients. If they have a mediocre business, they're doing less than 12 deals a year. We've really got to get them to doing 24 transactions a year to have stability, dependability, and not that up and down part of the real estate business. You can't see my fingers on the podcast, but this is what your business looks like. It's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. The translation for is that I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm sad. It's because you're getting paid every 2 months. You're getting paid once a month. That is not good for your pocketbook. That's not good for budgeting. It makes your wife cranky. What makes your wife happy is 2, 3, 4, 5 escrows or your husband a month, right? You're getting multiple checks stacking on top of each other. And then it becomes where it feels like it's just got a good flow. When I was closing 144 transactions a year, mathematically, if you think about that, we're closing 3 transactions a week, right? And so all of a sudden, every couple of days, there's a check. Title company, there's another check at the title company. I forget to go pick it up until my next title check at that company. And I pick it up and there's 2 there. And I'm like, oh, I forgot all about that one. That's a real thing when you start doing top producing real estate levels. How would you like to have that, right? Start with this simple process. What I told you today, everything I just described on here is free minus maybe a $29 home bot or something else. And then you could scale into working your business through leverage, meaning that you're spending money, check equity versus sweat equity, right? And then as we continue this coaching journey, we start getting into conversations about leverage, what your very first hire in real estate is, what's your second hire, how do you scale that? How do you build a buyer's agent team? I'm going to give you a little secret. Your first hire in real estate, what do you think it is? Giving you a minute to think about that. Most agents believe it's partnering with somebody or finding a buyer's agent that's going to spread the workload out. All you're doing is diminishing your income by half. That's not the way to go. What you want to do is hire an assistant and then leverage yourself to dollar producing activities and double your business with an assistant. An assistant's going to cost you 30 to 40 grand a year, a good one full time. Start with a full-time assistant. As soon as you can get to that level, usually you're about six figures of income, then you can get that assistant. That's when you can go to 250,000 years of $250,000 of income in your business by just with an assistant and doing it business yourself. Average sales price in the United States now is around 400,000 bucks, 2.5%, simple math, 10 grand per escrow. That's 25 transactions a year, brings you $250,000 or gross income in GCI, gross commission income, right? Even at the tightest shop, you're going to pay about 20 or 25 grand to be at most brokerages. My brokerage EXP is 16 grand a year, and then you go to 100% commission. Magical number is when you get to 25 transactions approximately, you get all $16,000 back. So now you're there literally for free or for 5,000, 6,000 bucks a year. That comes with scalability in your real estate business. So I hope this has helped. I want to thank you for being here. I'm here every single Tuesday again, randybyrd.live, RANDBYRD.live. We do it every single Tuesday, 12:30 Pacific time. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next week. Cue the music.